Welcome back to Foot in Mouth this Monday morning. Hope you're well, having a good start to your week, wherever you're watching from. It is the international break after this weekend set of fixtures, and it's also the transfer deadline day. So we're going to have a lot to talk about this week. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. And we're going to get to the transfer talk towards the end of the episode. Some big announcements happening, namely Alexander Isak to Liverpool, which we again will get onto towards the end of the episode. But Liverpool didn't need Isak in yesterday's game, where they beat Arsenal 1-0 in what I think a lot of people were seeing as an early title decider. And I guess rightfully so, these are the two favourites for it. And I'm just happy that this game wasn't ruined by VAR, which other games on the weekend were. But look, 1-0 to Liverpool, a worldie of a goal by Dominic Szoboszlai, who was the man of the match. Even without this goal, he would have been the man of the match. And I can't lie, as great a performance as it was by him, I'm so disappointed in Gabriel Martinelli yesterday, because he definitely had the easiest job on the pitch, in my opinion, coming up against Szoboszlai, makeshift right back. I, for the life of me, cannot understand how Martinelli struggled that much to make any kind of impact in the game. He was invisible, bro, an absolute ghost on the pitch. And this is one of those things where I'm kind of like, yeah, this is on Arteta. From the minute the lineup was announced, I had my doubts. My confidence, I had a lot of confidence. If you saw the predictions episode, I did predict an Arsenal win. It did change once I saw the lineup, because it just lacked any and all sense of creativity from the midfield. You know, you had Martin Zubimendi, Mikel Merino, and Declan Rice in there. Not bad players, all good players, but just no creativity. And I think Victor Gyökeres in particular suffered from that, bro. He got no service again yesterday. But to be fair, even if he did get service, I'm pretty sure that Liverpool centre-backs would have dealt quite fine with it, because they pretty much bullied him out the game. He had barely any touches again. I don't think he had a shot at goal. It wasn't a good day at the office, but I can forgive him that. Again, no service, and at Anfield, it's always tough. But that was Konate's best game of the season so far. It's unfortunate that he saved it for Arsenal. On the other side, though, Noni Madueke versus Kerkez, I think that was a really good battle. Very entertaining to watch. And I can't help wishing that Saka was fit for this game, because I think Saka or Madueke on the left versus Szoboszlai, I think the game plays out very differently. But that wasn't to be. It wasn't the case. And Liverpool, in the end, deserved winners. They soaked up everything that Arsenal was throwing at them, which wasn't much outside of corners. And they got a chance, I think the first half, I don't even think they had a shot at goal. First half was all Arsenal. We should have done more in that first half. Come the second half, I think Arteta should have made changes earlier, and then we probably could have done more as well, but he didn't. And yeah, Liverpool, in true fashion, showing how champions do it. You get a chance, you make the most of it. Martin Zubimendi commits a foul, and I thought to myself, it's quite ironic that it was Zubimendi of all people who gave Liverpool the free kick, because yeah, he may have said no to them for a transfer, but he did say yes to them when they needed a goal. So yeah, Szoboszlai steps up to take it. I don't even think this was from an area where a lot of people were like, yeah, this is a goal. It was from far out, but just what can you say about that goal, man? It was sensational. I think David Raya has still been the best goalkeeper in the league for me so far, for the last 2 seasons, I'd say at least. No chance. And that's not even on him. I think that was just one of those perfect free kicks. Almost Declan Rice-esque versus Real Madrid, bro. It was phenomenal. And yeah, I think it was a massive win for Liverpool, considering the circumstances. They were on the back foot from the start, but Slot had his team play. They were very compact. They kept a level head. Like I say, Konate, best game from him. Gravenberch was on a yellow card, and he managed to just see out the rest of the game as if he wasn't on a yellow card. It was tough to watch as an Arsenal fan, especially when you know how big a statement we could make here, and when you know the quality that we have in this team, and you see so much of that quality sitting on the bench. And look, I know that Arteta had a lot of fitness issues and injury issues to deal with. In this game, William Saliba came off very early injured, and it came out afterwards that he apparently hurt himself in the warm-up, but he felt fine to play. But he came off early. I started fearing for the worst when I saw Mosquera coming onto the pitch. But fair play to Mosquera, bro. What a signing he looks like. I mean, if you can handle your own like that against Liverpool, you're pretty much set to handle your own against every other club in the league, in my opinion. So I think it was a very, very good show from him. It was a very good show from Eze as well, coming off the bench and showing Martinelli how to beat your man on the left wing. It's quite crazy the difference that Eze brought with just a few minutes, like considering Martinelli was on that pitch for so long and just did nothing. So again, I'm looking at instances like that, and I'm thinking, Arteta should have been braver. Arteta could have been braver. You know, if you didn't have Martin Odegaard fit to play a full 90, I think you should have started him in the game and then take him off for Mikel Merino to shore things up later on. You know, I think Eze could have easily started this fixture in the middle. I honestly would have rather seen Ethan Nwaneri start on the left over what we saw from Martinelli. Arteta should have made these changes at halftime, if being honest, bro. Because at halftime, you could see that Arsenal were in control for the most part. Arsenal were in control. Liverpool weren't testing our backline. They weren't testing our goalkeeper. Arsenal had the possession. We were the ones going forward. He should have been braver. And I can't help but put this on Arteta. I think this was a bad loss. And yeah, I'm asking the question, have Liverpool won the league now? Because with that result, that was a 6-pointer for them. They're now the only club that have a 100% win record. They may very well go on to have an invincible season, but I'm not ready for those nightmares. And yeah, then you follow that type of result up with the Fabrizio Romano announcement of Alexander Isak joining. And yeah, it's scary season for the league, bro. It may very well turn into a Farmers League again, only this time under Liverpool instead of Manchester City. I don't see how Liverpool don't go on to win the Premier League at least this season. They're probably going to have a way bigger push in the Champions League and FA Cup than I'd expected at the beginning of the season. They've got so much depth going forward, bro. You look at any competition they're going to play in and they can chop and change however, and they'll always have the better options on the pitch than their opponents. It's quite scary how things worked out like this. But it's a really, really strong show of faith by the Liverpool board in Arne Slot. You know, they're investing a lot of money in him. It's 130 million pounds for Alexander Isak on top of the 100 plus million that they've spent on Florian Wirtz already. So it's unprecedented from Liverpool, really. But you at least see that they're investing their money well. I guess the jury's still out for Florian Wirtz. It wasn't a very good game for him against Arsenal again. But I mean, hey, maybe after the international break he comes through. There's much easier fixtures for Liverpool. Now they've been to St. James Park and they've seen Arsenal at Anfield. So they should have an easier, kinder run of fixtures. But yeah, Liverpool are just moving mad, bro. And when you consider they still may add Mark Guehi to this team, bro, which I think would kind of spell the end of Konate, if we're being honest. They look set to just dominate. And we don't have a Man City to stop him. I thought Arsenal would be the ones to stop him. They could still, I'm not going to lie, as things stand today, I'm very confident that when Arsenal take on Liverpool at the Emirates, I think Arsenal come out the winners there. So we could right this wrong. I just think this was a huge opportunity missed, man. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, what did you make of the game? Is this Liverpool going to win this Premier League, bro? I mean, more so than ever, you know. Was this a title decider 3 games in? I kind of think it was. I really do. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that the league is going to be a little bit more exciting than it was last season where Liverpool just walked it. But based on that, if Arteta isn't going to wake up and get a bit braver and get a little bit more daring with his tactics and with his style of play, I think, yeah, Arsenal are definitely set for another second place finish. I mentioned VAR drama this weekend. We got another apology. This time PGMOL apologizing to Fulham for how VAR incorrectly intervened, ruling out a goal, which led to a goal for Fulham being ruled out by the on-field referee. And yeah, it was the incorrect decision. Absolutely the incorrect decision. I know there's a lot of Chelsea fans that are out there saying, oh, well, that means that we just would have won 2-1. But we all know football doesn't work like that. You know, goals change games when they are scored. And I think that goal could have easily turned the tide a little bit. Fulham have some serious fight back in them. We've seen it more than once. And yeah, yesterday's game, because of that decision, the VAR operator was supposed to work on the Arsenal-Liverpool game. And he was sat down for that one, rightfully so. But I'm wondering, what happens to the ref, bro? He went to view the monitor. He made the call to essentially rule the goal out. So I don't understand too much how PGMOL are handling the discipline. Is the system ever going to work, bruh? Is it ever going to work? Honestly, 3 game weeks in, and all 3 game weeks, they've been VAR talking points for all the wrong reasons. But yeah, I feel really bad for Fulham here. Chelsea obviously going to take this win with both hands, bro. 2 quick goals in 2 minutes, or 3 minutes, I think it was. Enzo Fernandez getting a penalty. João Pedro getting another goal. Another. Dude, this guy is such a signing for this club, bro. But it wasn't all good news for Chelsea, as they did have an injury to Delap in this game, which did lead to them cancelling the loan move for Nico Jackson to Bayern Munich. And I don't know what to say, bro. It feels like a real dick move, in my opinion, for Chelsea to do this. You've actively been forcing this dude out of your club. You've been desperate to find a new club for him. You finally get one. It's a massive move for him. It's Bayern Munich. And then you go and say, nah, you know what, bro? come on back. And Bayern Munich did announce that they did instruct him and his agent to head back to London. Agent stayed in Germany trying to push for this move. But at the end of the day, it looks like Chelsea are winning here. And Nico Jackson is headed back to London. Maybe by the end of this deadline day, that'll change. But I don't know. Considering this injury to Delap, it must be a very serious one if they have recalled Nico Jackson from this. But yeah, it's a big win for Chelsea. It's an unfortunate loss for Fulham, especially in those circumstances. It's very frustrating when you drop points because of VAR. But yeah, it's a win for Chelsea. Manchester United coming very, very close to dropping points again against Burnley. It was a relegation play 6-pointer. Man United came out on top thanks to VAR as well. VAR played a role in this. Some good fortune for Man United because Burnley had a goal ruled out for offside. I cannot understand how that is considered offside. I think that was a ludicrous decision. Let me know in the comments below if you think that was the correct one, because again, I'd be very surprised to see anybody justify how that is in fact an offside position. It was very tight. It was very tight. I just think that this rule needs work, bro. This rule needs work. They need to think about how they distinguish what's an advantage to an attacking player, because that was not it, bro. And it wasn't the only time that VAR got involved in the game. They did, in my opinion, rightfully stop a penalty being awarded to Manchester United for a foul by Kyle Walker on Mason Mount. A lot of United fans were annoyed with the fact that a penalty wasn't given. I think it was very obvious that this foul was committed outside the box. What I don't think was obvious was that it was fair play, because Burnley just ended up getting a goal kick from that incident. I thought that it was definitely a foul by Kyle Walker. I can't understand how Man United didn't at least get a free kick. But I was happy that it wasn't a penalty here. But either way, another disappointing display by Man United. They also have injury concerns of their own, with Cunha coming off. It looks like that's quite a bad injury, so they may be busy on this deadline day. But Brian Mbeumo did get on the score sheet again, and Bruno Fernandes put away a penalty to put his penalty miss to bed. And yeah, it's a win for Man United. Benjamin Sesko came on again. I can't understand I didn't start this game. But yeah, he came off from the bench and in my opinion looked quite disappointing again. I know he did come close towards the end of the game, but I don't even think it was that close. But yeah, I think that this dude is just... He needs to start games. He absolutely should have been starting. In these opening 3 fixtures, he should have started at least one of them. This Burnley game would have been the one to do it in. I don't know what Amorim's problem is with him. He clearly doesn't have that much faith in him right now. Maybe after the international break that changes. I think after the international break it has to change, because there's going to be so much pressure on Manchester United after this break. But Amorim did say that he saw the Man United that he wants in this win, which is bizarre to say. It's a game against Burnley, bro. Like, Man United should have absolutely been a lot more comfortable in this game. The fans needed to see a performance. That's not what they got. But shout out to Lyle Foster, local boy, getting a goal against Manchester United. You love to see it. And I'm hoping that he doesn't do the same against Arsenal later. But yeah, it's a win for Manchester United, a win that they absolutely needed. Spurs took their first loss of the season, which is always a wonderful day for football. They lost 1-0 to Bournemouth, and in the preview episode, I did give Bournemouth a chance here, but I predicted a draw, if anything. I'm so happy that they proved me wrong here and got a win. In just 5 minutes, bro, even Nielsen gets a goal. Look, a lot of luck in it. It was a deflection. But 5 minutes in, Bournemouth 1-0 up, and for the other 85 minutes plus, Spurs had no response. They had absolutely no response. I said before that their big wins that they've been having in these first 2 games, especially their one against Manchester City, I said it can be very taxing emotionally, can be taxing physically. And I said we'd see the effects of those in this game, which we did, bro. Which we absolutely did. Bournemouth deserved winners. They were in control. It was at Spurs' home. Not a good look for Spurs, but I love it, because when Spurs lose, it's a win for football. So yeah, it's a big win for Bournemouth, all things considered. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a little bit active as well on this deadline day, because I think they got a lot to fight for this season. They are playing good football. Their whole back line was decimated, but they seem to be doing all right, if we're being honest. And yeah, Semenyo got the assist here. Evan Nielsen gets the goal, and it's another big win for Iraola. Jack Grealish continues to shine in an Everton shirt. He got another 2 assists yesterday, which makes it 4 assists in 2 games. And he got another Man of the Match award as well for this game. Very deserved win for Everton. It was a tight game, a lot tighter than I thought it would be, but these are essentially 2 clubs. They beat Wolves 3-2. These are 2 clubs that I think a lot of people, tipped to finish towards the end of the Premier League table, and Wolves are still very much on track for that. But yeah, Everton, my man, I think that they are surprising me. They definitely are surprising me. I was excited once Jack Grealish was announced to be going there, but I didn't think he'd have this good an impact this early on in his Everton career. I love to see it though. The difference it makes when a player gets a run of games, bro. I hope Ruben Amorim is taking notes here because Benjamin Sesko needs that. But yeah, it's a massive win for Everton. It's against a club that I think is a direct competitor for any position that they're fighting for. So yeah, massive win for them. Massive performance by Jack Grealish, who again is my player of the week. Brighton absolutely stunned Manchester City, and yeah, it's official. Man City are done. They are not the same Manchester City that people once feared. We've known this, but we keep knowing it a little more with every passing game week. And yeah, huge win for Brighton. They won it very late on. It was a good goal as well, so it's not even like it was just a fluke type situation. I think that Pep Guardiola has some serious work on his hands, and the international break probably coming at a good time for them, so he can just sit with that tactic board and figure some shit out, because it's not working, bro. I think much like people aren't fearing Manchester United anymore, less and less clubs are fearing Manchester City. And yeah, just hats off to Brighton, bro. When I saw the lineup, I saw Danny Welbeck leading the line. I just thought to myself, wow, like it's 2025. That's still the case. I didn't expect them to get a result here, but James Milner took charge, scoring a penalty. It's a monumental goal for James Milner at his age. But yeah, I thought Man City would eventually come through with the win, and it didn't happen. It was Brighton getting the late win, and again, a deserved win, bro. A deserved win. Brighton absolutely fought tooth and nail for that one. So yeah, hats off to them. I think that's the upset of the week without a doubt. Big question marks around Manchester City now. Let me know in the comments below. Are they finished, bruh? Is Pep finished at Manchester City? And can they turn things around going forward in the season? I say Brighton had the biggest upset of the weekend. It wasn't the only upset of the weekend, because this next fixture we're talking about, I think, is quite an upset. And that's Nottingham Forest losing 3-0 at home to West Ham of all clubs. West Ham finally get a win, scoring all 3 goals after the 80th minute, by the way. So kept it for late. But rapid fire. Once one goes in, the other 2 follow. Jared Bowen opens things up for them. And then Callum Wilson got his first goal in a West Ham shirt. So that was a good moment for him. Much needed win for West Ham going into the international break. Graham Potter needed this more than anybody in the league, if we're being honest. And yeah, I think that it's going to be a newfound sense of confidence for the team going into the break. I think they can come back from the international break refreshed. I don't know how many of their players will be involved in any international games, but whoever is staying behind, you can bet that Graham Potter is going to be running some double time drills to get this team in form and in shape and focused for the next set of fixtures. And it was also a massive win for Crystal Palace. 3-0 against Aston Villa at Villa Park, bruh. Aston Villa are just in shambles right now. They need something to really go their way, and they, I think, are also going to be very active on this deadline day, because it's very obvious that a lot of work is needed that side. You know, Unai Emery gave a very cagey press conference at the end of the game where the reporter was pressing him about Emi Martinez. He just insisted on reminding the reporter who Aston Villa's number 1 goalkeeper is at the moment, just kept repeating his name. It was bizarre, it was funny, but I think you could also see that this man is stressed. He is absolutely stressed. Things have not gotten off to a good start for Aston Villa this season. They need a lot of work. And yeah, losing 3-0 to Palace. Again, all due respect to Palace. Palace are a good side. It was another good performance by Ismail Assar. It was another good performance by Mark Guehi, which could have been the perfect send-off for him. Because again, Liverpool, this deadline day, lots of moves to look out for. Mark Guehi is way at the top of that list as well. But yeah, he got a goal. The captain, Mateta, got a goal in this game, another penalty. So all around great day for Crystal Palace. I think that they can go into the international break with a lot of confidence, considering how things may have seemed when they knew that they were losing Eze. I don't think they expected to get a game like this where a 3-0 win over Aston Villa. But yeah, massive result for Palace, massive worries for Aston Villa, and a lot of work to be done. Sunderland make it 2 wins from their opening 3 games back in the Premier League. They managed to get a win against Brentford, another very late winner. Didn't expect this. I thought that Sunderland would do well, but I predicted a draw. If anything, I was almost right about that, if not for a 96th minute winner by Sunderland. And yeah, the fairy tale continues, bro. Granit Xhaka playing another integral role in this result. He got an assist in the game. And Brentford will be a little bit stumped by this one. I think they will feel that they should have got a result, just not been a good start to the season for Brentford either. And yeah, the Sunderland result is huge for them, bro. 2 wins in their opening 3 fixtures is a lot more than most Premier League clubs in the league can say at this moment. They haven't exactly had the easiest fixtures. I think the West Ham game on paper was tough for them. I think the Brentford game on paper was tough for them. But one thing we're learning is that Sunderland at home are quite a difficult outfit to play against. So hats off to them. They're also going to be active on this deadline day. They're going to look to strengthen even further going into the national break. And to be honest, bro, I understand. And I could also understand any player joining up with them because this is a very exciting project. Big 3 points for them. Newcastle, not so lucky on the day at St. James Park with a 0-0 draw with Leeds. Probably the last thing that they needed, especially considering the news that followed about Alexander Isak. Yeah, it's tough, bro. I think Newcastle, they've got a whole lot of money now. So you just need to throw that around on this deadline day. I think it's a little tough for them considering that anybody that you go shopping at is well aware that you now have £130 million to play with after Alexander Isak's move to Liverpool. So they may get screwed over in negotiations, but I don't think they have a choice right now. They need to pay whatever needs to be paid for whichever players they need because they need a lot more additions if they are going to have a successful Premier League season. Big result for Leeds though. And that does it for football this weekend. It's the last game week before the international break. So next weekend, it'll be a little bit boring, but we'll still have plenty to talk about, especially with the transfer window wrapping up. And today, there are some big deals to look out for. Like I said at the top of the show, Alexander Isak to Liverpool. That one has been here we go by Fabrizio Romano. Mark Guehi to Liverpool is another one that everyone is keeping tabs on because the player so far, by all reports, has agreed terms with Liverpool. Liverpool and Crystal Palace negotiating a fee for the Palace captain. Palace are going to have to fill those gaps. I think they can. You know, they've been linked with some interesting defenders in the past, namely Diomande from Sporting, a player that I am a very big fan of. So I'd like to see him come to the Premier League. I think he could do a job filling in for Guehi. But it's not just Liverpool who are busy. Manchester City, look like they're finally on the verge of announcing Donnarumma's signing with Edison getting a year we go to Fenerbahce as well. Big move for Fenerbahce. The Turkish league are making some good signings. They also signed Asensio from PSG who looked very decent at Aston Villa. But yeah, Donnarumma to Man City looks like it's finally getting over the line. Manchester United, like they finally getting a goalkeeper. We just don't know if it's going to be Emi Martinez or if it's going to be Sen Lamens. I'm always struggling to remember that guy's name. I think right now they're just kind of, I think the Lamens deal is the priority, but Emi Martinez is there. Also reports suggesting that he's told Aston Villa that Man United is the move he wants. So Man United finally getting a goalkeeper. I'm not going to lie, I think they need more than a goalkeeper, but I don't know if they'll get more than a goalkeeper done on this deadline day. Let me know if you think otherwise. But yeah, Man United finally solving one of their biggest problems of the season so far. Anthony looks like he has finally got his move to Betis wrapped up. Reports suggesting that they've reached an agreement, Betis and Manchester United. And also, Jadon Sancho could be on his way to Aston Villa, which I think would be a crazy move. Maybe he's taking a page out of Rashford's book. Rashford looked like he was, like that was the move that he needed last season. He definitely looked a much better player in the Villa kit. Sancho may have been keeping tabs on him while he was at Chelsea and figured, you know what? They can clearly afford his wages if they could pay Rashford's wages. So it could be a good move for him. He stays in the Premier League. He plays in a competitive team and he plays for a manager that knows what he's doing for the most part. So yeah, I think it could be a little bit of a revival on the cards for Jadon Sancho. And yeah, honestly, I just think it'll be a good move for Villa. That's 2 seasons in a row where they'll have an exciting English player joining the attacking ranks. And I still think there's a player in Sancho. I can't lie. And maybe Emery is the guy to bring that player out again. Yeah, it remains to be seen, but that is one to keep tabs on. And also, one thing that I think people should watch out for is Randal Kolo Muani. Now, he has been in negotiations to join Juventus on a permanent. Negotiations that side seem to have stalled quite a bit, and he could emerge as an option for a lot of clubs around Europe. But I wouldn't be surprised if someone in the Premier League takes a chance on him, because there are clubs in the Premier League that I think could use a Randal Kolo Muani right now. Namely Manchester United, especially now with Cunha being injured. We don't know how long he's going to be out, but there could be opportunity for a sneaky loan move there. Loan with an obligation, loan with an option, either or. I think something could happen with Kolo Muani if Juventus continue to stall. And yeah, obviously there's a hell of a lot more going on. Nicholas Jackson's future is all up in there. So let me know in the comments below, what transfers do you think could happen in this deadline day? What should we be looking out for if I haven't already spoken about it? I know Sunderland, like I said, they're also still active. They're looking at a striker from Ajax. I think his name is Brian Brobbery or something. I may have butchered his name there, but yeah, lots of activity expected, and we are going to be speaking about all of it on the channel. So again, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on all that content. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. It does help the channel. Thank you guys, as always, for watching the show. I'll catch you in the next one.